Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV. My name's Bernie Weemers. We're coming to you live tonight from Lime Rock Park for round 2 of the Skip Barber Monday Night Lights, and as you can see out there folks, they're qualifying at the moment, and we're in for a great race by the looks of it once again, Alex.
Yeah, g'day Bernie, g'day viewers at home. Welcome back again to what will be no doubt a sensational race here tonight at Lime Rock Park. 20 laps around here, just under a minute each. The guys are out on track qualifying at the moment, setting some scorching times. Fantastic field lineup here tonight. Once again, the second strongest of the week, Bernie, just a tick under 3,700, all shaping up for some fantastic on-track action.
Certainly are, and the field, as we hear an engine blow up in the background, wonder if that was Mr. Henderson. Anyway, yeah, the field, we've got another great quality field here. Last race I watched, Matthew Thomas cleared out on the guys, so keep an eye on him tonight, folks, because he's definitely got the pace here at Lime Rock, as well as we've got Luke Whitten up there, currently sitting third, but Enzo Cantor's back, and he's provisional pole by the looks of it.
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie. Enzo's back in action. Matthew Thomas and Luke Whitten, as you say, in the top three. I don't know if you remember, Bernie, but this is where it all began for you and I. Lime Rock Park, about three and a half seasons ago now, and the battle of the night was Enzo Cantor and Matthew Thomas. We're here to relive past glories. Enzo, the rear of the car, stepped out through turn 1 and 2. Matthew went through. They had a bit of an accident. It was on for young and old. So hopefully tonight we'll see plenty of action like that night again, but maybe a bit less of the rubbing shoulder, so to speak.
So this is like an anniversary, is it?
It's something like that, Bernie. But certainly a massive field tonight as well. All 20 slots on the grid taken, which has allowed some of the other guys that have, like Dennis Fiedler, for example, he scraped in this week at car number 20, the larger field, giving an opportunity, and already he's showing that he's worth the shot. He's up to P13 in the early stages of qualifying, Bernie, or I should say the later stages, because it's only about 3 minutes to go, but with 2 laps, most of the guys will be getting close to done if they haven't already, Bernie.
Yeah, and we can see Luke Whitten still out there, still trying to improve. He's currently sitting in third, so your top 5 at the moment, folks. Enzo Cantor, provisional pole. Matthew Thomas, he's provisionally second. Now we've got Luke Whitten coming down the straight, and we'll see if he can improve this time. And if not, he'll be starting the second row. He's coming across the line now, and what did he do? I don't think he improved.
No, it doesn't look like he improved, Bernie. It looks like he's just sort of out there trying to get the feel for the track, so to speak. He's probably done his 2 laps, trying to get a few extras in before the session rounds out. Of course, like I said, sub 1 minute laps means that if you get your quali out and run and one early, you can do 4 or 5 more laps just to get the feel of the place, Bernie.
Okay, so can see Benny Simonson's also just exited the car. He's qualified in 8th, so we'll see what he can do. But let's have a look at the wrong button again. Okay, let's try this again, folks. Let's have a look at our track guide. So as you were saying, sub 1 minute laps around here. We've got a partly cloudy day, wind speed 16 kilometres an hour. The track temperature 39 degrees Celsius once again. And it's a hot one, but as we always say, the skippies don't really mind the heat that much.
No, they'll get a bit more sideways and struggle a bit more for grip, but that makes them all the more fun, to be honest, Bernie. Some sensational times we've seen laid down tonight, given the conditions. Guys ducking into the 56s in qualifying, that's fantastic. And I know Luke Whitten, whilst he's still out there circulating, he's been bumped down to P4 on the grid, still on the second row. Gavin Marsden making a late charge to sit in third at this stage, Bernie.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really high quality race, but while the guys are circulating out there, let's go through our grid, because we've got 20 of them to go through, and you might be able to tell us a bit about some of these guys if you know where they're from. But before we do that, we should also welcome everyone from iRacing Live tonight. We're coming to you live, and we hope you enjoy our take on the skippies, and this series is normally very action-packed.
Absolutely, it is, Bernie. It's the best series I know of for side-by-side racing. The guys race hard and by and large clean, with only the odd mistake causing guys to come together. But generally, you get side-by-side action on all tracks, in all corners, at all times, Bernie. It's a great deal of fun.
Yeah, so here's our grid. It looks like they've just finished, so let's have a look at the grid so you can see where your favourite driver lines up. So Enzo Cantor will start from pole position. Keep an eye on Matthew Thomas, so I'm really keen to see how he goes tonight. He was quite competitive last week, folks, but he started quite deep in the field. Gavin Marsden will start out of third. Luke Whitten fourth, another person to keep an eye out. But Martinovic is in fifth position. Starting out of sixth will be Ari Haro, then Hakon Grebstad out of seventh. Benny Simonson will start out of eighth, followed by Kevin Henderson in ninth. Russell Clark, he will start out of 10th tonight. Out of 11th we have Vince Browning, then we have Carlos Sainz out of 12th. Ben Snell qualified in 13th, with Dennis Fiedler qualifying in 14th. Jeremiah Morton will start out of 15th tonight. Out of 16th we have Gustavo Condi, followed by Matt Cox in 17th. Benjamin Soko out of 18th. Tim Hendrickson 19th. Rounding out your field of 20 is Matthew Hill.
Yeah, fantastic field, as we were saying, Bernie. Plenty of familiar faces as well as some new ones there. Great to see Håkon Grebstad make another appearance, qualifying quite well. He's had a really strong week this week. Looking further down the field, Benny Simonson, last week's winner, languishing somewhat, you might say, down in 8th position, but still inside the top 10. Kevin Henderson making another return for his, must be his 9th tilt. He's been in every series so far. This is season 9, of course. First of the Team Milo cars, rounding out your top 10. Plenty of familiar faces throughout the field. Bernie shaping up for a fantastic race.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I'm very much looking forward to this, that's for sure. We can see them now queuing up, ready to go. I think they're just waiting on a driver, and then we will be going. Here we go. Under starters orders, revs will be rising. You can hear them now, and waiting for the green to drop. And it does, and away we go for round 2 of the Skip Barber Monday Lights here at Lime Rock. Enzo Cantor has got a great start, and just having a look who's on the inside. They nearly go too wide into the first corner, and so far it's clean.
Yeah, it looks like the guys are going through pretty cleanly. I tell you, Enzo had a fantastic start, but it was accentuated by Matthew Thomas's first start, who's now fighting off Luke Whitten as they go 2x2 through the left-hander, the only left-hander on the course, conveniently named the left-hander as they head out to the back to the no-name straight at this stage. She's struggled and hung on to third, but at this stage, I'd say that's cost him dearly, because Gavin and Enzo, they're about half a second in front, looking to make the running clear of it then.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to let these two go. We can see further down there's a car into the wall already in the background. We'll get that replay for you soon, folks, but at the moment, coming through to complete lap 1 of 25, we've got Enzo Cantor, Gavin Marsden, Matthew Thomas, who's trying to catch up to him as they weave to break the slipstream. Luke Whitten sitting in 4th.
Well, Benny Simonson making an aggressive move up the inside, down in 8th position now, just going through Kevin Henderson on the inside of turn 1, held the position through turn 2. Kevin not fighting that one too much. Turn 1, 2, of course, the best passing opportunity and one of the only safe one potentially on the whole track, Bernie, as they go Linus turn once again out to the back to the no-name straight.
Yeah, so this race is going to go pretty quickly, as in the laps are going to tick down pretty quickly, but looking at the laps, so the first lap was only a 1:03. We'll see once they get their momentum going what they can do. More smoke in the background there as another car runs wide. Looks like the uphill section of the track is catching a few of the guys out.
Yeah, very tricky section of the track, Bernie. You've got to be really, really on your game. As well, once again, a car running wide. Looks like, I can't pick who that was running wide on the exit. Benny Simonson once again making a bold move up the inside, really looking to stake his claim for the top half of this field, Bernie. Going through on the inside aggressively with Håkon Grebstad there. Håkon once again not contesting the position, knowing that if he fights too hard they could lose the draft of the leading cars, and that'll be all over, because the tightly knit nature of this competitive field will see that any gaps that form will be hard to bridge. But going back to your point, Bernie, tight racing throughout here. The uphill section that they're all sort of traversing now, got to be very careful. Right hand corner, of course, as you come up over the hill, the rear of the car becomes unweighted, can very easily step out. You've got to have all four wheels pointed in the forward direction, Bernie, otherwise your night can end quite tragically.
It certainly can, and we're looking from the gearbox of Benny Simonson at the moment. You can see Huck on now having a look. Benny's covering him off. Boy, they're close.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Benny's sort of expecting people to play nice with him, but then he's forcing them to the outside and going defensive, and that game can end in one of a couple of ways. Everyone getting through cleanly like they just done there, or ending their night in disaster. So good to see the guys making a good fist of it to this point, Bernie.
It certainly is. So far, folks, we've had no retirements, but your top five, Enzo Cantor leads Gavin Marsden. Matthew Thomas is 1 second down from them. Then we have Luke Whitten in fourth, 1.5 seconds down from the leader. And then Ari Haro is your top five. Yeah,
fascinating to see the top four. They're not really spread out. They're all within drafting distance, but a half a second to 0.6 of a second between each driver suggests that each is really struggling to hold on to the one in front, and given half a chance they'll get dropped depending on how Enzo's going out in front. Although I see Gavin Marsden now closing up well within the half a second, looking to put pressure on Enzo the next time round, Bernie.
We've had a huge accident coming down the downhill section. It's taken about 5 cars out. I think Benny Simonson was one of them. We're going to jump back and have a look at this, folks, because it was a huge one.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking. Benny's run wide through where's that? West Bend. He's run wide through West Bend, the second to last corner where he's trying to set up. The rear of the car's got loose. He's gone across on the inside and looks to have attempted to rejoin the track on the racing line, and that's found caught Kevin Henderson unawares. He's run straight up the rear on the apex, and that's caused a 5 or 6 car pile up by the looks, Bernie. That's quite tragic in terms of the race.
Yeah, we saw it. He just he lost it in West Bend. That's where he first came unstuck. But as you said, as we look at the super slow-mo coming back on the track, and who's that? Kevin Henderson had nowhere to go at all.
Yeah, Kevin would not be expecting a car to rejoin on the apex of that final corner, which is flat out in fourth gear, looking to grab fifth as soon as you can to head up that straight, Bernie, and you don't expect a car to be re-entering on the apex there, Bernie.
Yeah, exactly right, and we're just seeing the tragic end to Benny's campaign tonight. That'll do his race, but it's also affected Kevin Henderson. I'm having a look further down. I think Ben Snell may have also been involved in that.
Yeah, the only saving grace for most of the drivers there was it's right near the pit entry, so something to salvage there, but certainly the competitive nights of many will be over. Håkon Grebstad did fantastically well there. He ran around the outside of Benny's mistake, leaving plenty of room on the inside, but nowhere near the apex. He was a big winner out of that. Dennis Fiedler also jumping up several positions as a result of cautiously traversing that incident, Bernie.
Yeah, it was threading the needle for some of them, and you can see out front at the moment Enzo Cantor, he's leading by 1/10 of a second over Gavin Marsden. Matthew Thomas is also going with them, but they're dropping Luke Whitten off the back of this train. He can't let these guys go, or else he's not going to have a chance on the podium tonight.
No, 100% right, Bernie. The challenging thing about this situation for Luke is normally when you're between 7 and 8 tenths behind the car in front like he is now, you get a good draft. But once they hit the straight, that 3-car pack with Enzo at the front, the 2 cars will join up behind Enzo and actually extend the gap between themselves and Luke here, potentially dropping him. Although he's got a great run out, he might make a liar of me yet, Bernie.
Yeah, we're looking from the gearbox cam of Matthew Thomas here. You can see Luke in the background trying to close up. He's not, and that goes to show the pace. These guys are lapping in the 56-second mark per lap here.
Yeah, fantastic times again. Yeah, you're right. The 3 of them together are running so cleanly. Luke's having no chance to catch up at this stage. That gap sitting between 7 and 8 tenths consistently. So that front 3 running pretty cleanly, pretty well. Not putting too much pressure on Enzo at this stage. So it'll be interesting to see how much pressure they start applying in the later stages, Ben.
Yeah, definitely. And further back, we're looking at Bart Martinovic. He's fighting with Ari Haro in front of him, and once again, Hakon getting it all crossed up in West End there. It's that corner's given some of these drivers trouble here tonight.
Yeah, surprisingly challenging there, Bernie. You've got to lift, touch on the brake to rotate the car towards the apex of the corner, as we see Bart now putting pressure onto Ari. They both get the yips there. Ari running wide, Bart almost losing the rear end of the car. But back to that corner at West Bend, Bernie, you've got to be really careful to point the car at the apex, get it through smoothly. If you clip the inside ripple strip, though, like so many corners on this track, they're raised and they can unsettle the car enough and push you wide, Bernie.
Yeah, and we're going to ride with Gavin Marsden here as he goes through West End, just to underline the trickiness. You can see him now ride out the leader, Enzo Cantor, 2 wheels on the grass, and he still keeps it pointing forwards. And I don't know if that's skill or luck, but he hung on to it. But now Gavin's got an awesome run on the outside here.
Yeah, Enzo's making him go to the outside, whether or not he wanted to pass or not. This is still early stages. We're just going around for lap 10 or 25 at the moment, Bernie. And these guys, they've got no rush here. They're really looking to build and consolidate a lead. This lead pack of 3 now, as they seem to have dropped Luke Whitten, who's now 1.1 seconds behind and scratching for any sort of draft that he can get. These front 3 now will be looking to sort of drop as many of the guys behind as they can and build as much of a lead, so that later stage of the race, the battling that they will do will not cost them positions in the end, Bernie.
Yeah, well, they've managed to drop Luke here. He's 1.7 seconds behind the leader now, and having a look, 1.1 seconds now behind Matthew Thomas. So they're definitely dropping him off the lead pack here, so it's going to come down to the top 3 for the podium unless something goes awry. You can also see in the background now Hakon is having a go at Bart again, and Ari. So this battle pack is now on 3 as Hakon goes on the inside of Bart and he makes that move stick.
Yeah, nice clean move there, as is often the case through turn 1, Bernie. Hakon's been racing really strong this week, done a lot of racing, had a few wins. I've had the pleasure of racing with him a few times. Not got the better of him ever, unfortunately. He's very quick, on the rise. His I rating and results have been commensurate with his performances of late, Bernie.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and you can see him once again, different camera angle here, but you can just see how the cars are dancing over that uphill, and they actually do get a little bit airborne, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie, they do. The suspension becomes completely unweighted, and if you don't have the car lined up, as I was saying previously, as the weight returns to the wheels and the suspension properly and the car grips up, if you're not pointing in the right direction, it'll grip and flick you out. So really challenging bit for the new guys that might be coming into this series. It'll catch people out a lot of the time, and a lot of the questions you get asked are centered around, how can I go flat out through that corner? How can I keep the accelerator flat to the floor? And the answer to that is line your car up early, straighten it up, keep the wheels dead center, and you can get through there flat without too much of an incident or too many problems, Bernie. But it's certainly a lot of fun to get right, and tragic when you get it wrong.
And I guess after you say that, you go and set your barbecue up on that corner and watch the entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. Just word in the chat now, Ben Snell, apparently after that major incident, he's gone into the pits, and unfortunately either his fast repair was not ticked or he's had an issue with it, and his car hasn't been fixed, so he's looks like he's out of tonight's race, Ben.
Yeah, he's the only retirement, as again Enzo makes Gavin go the long way and holds him out, but this has allowed Matthew Thomas back onto him. Looking back at that accident, the drivers affected were Benny Simonson, of course, Jeremiah Morton, Russell Clark was involved in that as well, and of course, as you mentioned, Ben Snell. I thought I saw Kevin Henderson involved, but he didn't come into the pits.
Yeah, he was definitely involved, Bernie. He's languishing back in 15th position, which is down 6 from his spot on the grid, Bernie. I imagine Matt Cox had some involvement as well down in 16th with Dennis Fiedler, the first of the cars that made through there cleanly, now sitting in 14th position. He's lost a couple of spots, though, from where he was after that incident, so I'm not sure what happened to him there, but looking to hopefully secure some points here tonight, Bernie.
Yeah, which would be good, because as many points as they can achieve. It'll help them in the point scores. Once again, Enzo makes Gavin go the long way, but this has also allowed Matthew Thomas to really range up on them, and I think he's licking his lips. He can see a position hopefully coming his way soon.
Absolutely, Bernie. Matthew's pace around here and in general is remarkable. So I'm sure he'll be content to watch the action as they go around the uphill section at turn 5 once again. I'm sure he'll be content to watch this action unfold and then take advantage of any opportunities that he can. Either a poor run through the west bend here and then diving turn 7, the final corner here where you've got to set up that run through the long straight, which is exactly what Gavin Marsden's doing now on Enzo. Enzo no doubt will move across to the right and go defensive, forcing Gavin to go to the outside of the outside of the track, I should say. Gavin very generously moving over to the left to try and open up the corner for himself. You can go around the outside, as Gavin's really showing now, but the drive with Enzo on the inside again keeps him in first position, Bernie. Fantastic driving by both as Gavin pokes the nose up the inside of the left-hander at turn 3, but Enzo holds him out once again, Bernie.
Certainly does, and I tell you what, Gavin's doing a fantastic job going on the outside there. We're riding with Matthew Thomas at the moment. Matthew took the normal line and he did not range up on them this time through.
No, he would have been very careful, as that's pretty risky manoeuvres there, but if you've got confidence in the guy inside and out of you, you can make that work. I was very fortunate to race with someone earlier in the week. Used was his name. He has been a Monday Night Lights participant previously. He and I had a great battle through turn 1 and 2. Oh, the bit of contact there. Matthew got an excellent run and just touched the rear of Gavin Marsden there. Gavin's picked up a bit of damage. I hope he hasn't got rear suspension damage. We'll probably find out here as he goes around the outside once again, Bernie. Unfortunate contact, but hopefully they can all continue unscathed.
Yeah, I think looking at that exit there, Enzo went in very shallow on exit to stop Gavin coming on the inside, and I think it confused Gavin a little bit. And as you said, had a little bit of contact between Matthew and Gavin, but at the moment looks like Gavin's got away with any suspension damage anyway.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like he's got away relatively unscathed. Certainly a bit of rear wing damage, but the car seems to be tracking okay. I might try and hop on the cockpit view and see if he's tracking straight. The steering wheel looks okay, looks about where you would expect it at that point in the track, and down the straight certainly holding true. The big risky run with the rear contact in these cars is doing the rear suspension damage, which can cause you to track very poorly, Bernie. He shows the nose up the inside as they head around for lap 17, Bernie.
Yeah, Enzo tried a different tactic that time. He actually opened the corner up and left himself with the inside open, but of course Gavin sort of looked at it and balked a little bit. I think he probably wondered what the heck that open track looked like.
Potentially. Yeah, you really want to be side by side on the approach to that corner, and Enzo probably had confidence that Gavin didn't have the run to get side by side to take the inside line, so open up to the more traditional line through there to maintain his pace. As once again Gavin riding up right onto Enzo's gearbox again as they head down through the diving turn, as it's known, at turn 7 to have another crack at this turn 1 overtake, Bernie.
Yeah, and this time Enzo's going on the inside and he's going to make Gavin go the long way.
Absolutely he is. Gavin must have got a better run as they go 2 by 2 again. You know who's winning out here, Bernie? They've started battling. Luke Whitten now just 1 second behind this group, looking to get a good run through turn 2 now as they head down to turn 3, the left-hander. And he's trying really hard to get back on here. Wouldn't that make for an interesting finish, Bernie?
Certainly would. And we'll go to the distance here so you can just see, well, you can't even see him ahead. You can just see the gap now live, folks. 1.7 seconds, Luke Whitten back to the leader, Enzo Cantor.
Yeah, he's about 1.1 now behind this pack, but if they battle again, he was as close as just over a second before, as they again putting 2 wheels on, or front 4 cars almost putting 2 wheels on the grass out there. You can do that if you keep the wheels straight, your steering wheel that is. Don't try and correct too early. As another car in the pits now, Bernie. Looks like Ben Soko's hopped into the pits, not sure what happened there. Okay,
we'll see if we can find out, but once again we can see them going through. Enzo Cantor on the inside, Gavin on the outside, Matthew Thomas tucked in third, and Luke Whitten, he's trying to join the party, but he's waiting for his invitation, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just stuck back the previous lap. Ben Soko's, he's come into contact by the looks with Vince Browning through turn one, Bernie. I had a bit of, I've been battling out as we've seen the front runners do through turn one, fighting for position. They've gone side by side, had a bit of net code, unfortunately, both of them running off wide through turn two, and Benjamin's limped it round to the pits by the looks, Bernie.
Okay, I'm trying to get the replay up, folks, but we've lost picture here.
Oh, that's never a good thing. I can tell you, Benjamin's back on track. He's in P19, and as I jump up to the leaders now, Gavin Marsden now forced to hold off Matthew Thomas as they go too wide again through turn one. Obviously not wanting to fight too hard, because they know if they fight too hard, they'll get Enzo running away for them as they're on lap 20 now. Only 5 to go. Luke Whitten now well and truly on this front pack, just 0.7 behind. The battling's really not working out well for the front three in that regard, although I'm sure Luke's licking his lips at this point, Bernie.
Yeah, so we've got pictures back, folks. Sorry about that. That was the overlays crashing, actually, and we'll get those back. But mental note here, let's not look at replays.
Absolutely. Well, the action's certainly heating up up front, I should say, is once again Matthew Thomas gets a great run out of that final turn 7, I should say. He's ranging right up on the bat, forcing Gavin to go defensive. Gavin himself's got a good run, not taking an optimal line through there, manages to hang on to the rear of the car. Luke now, half a second. He's about to set the cat amongst the pigeons, I'm sure, Bernie.
Yeah, and he's got 5 laps to do it, and he's going to catch these guys, but so far we haven't seen both Gavin or Matthew be able to improve here, and Enzo's defending vigorously, but if Luke does catch him, do you think he'll actually be able to capitalise on it?
Well, it depends. I mean, as you say, the balance of 5 laps remaining now as they head around the West Bend now, and they're approaching the lapped car in Russell Clark by the looks, Bernie. Hopefully, knowing Russell well in the Team Milo car, he'll pull over to the side at some stage and let these guys pass corners so they can continue. But yeah, look, the best I'd suggest, barring incident, that Luke could hope for would be a couple of the positions. The way Enzo's driving tonight as Gavin Marsden once again ranges up. Enzo just moving across. You can turn in early there about the 100 marker into that corner without, even threatening to block or anything. It's an early turn in there, but yeah, Luke will be looking to try and make 1 or 2 positions here. I suggest the way Enzo's driving tonight, really, really strongly and really, really smartly, I should say, as well. He'll struggle to take the win, given that Matthew Thomas and Gavin Marsden had about 22 laps to have their crack at it so far, Bernie.
Yeah, well, Enzo's pretty much led this from start to finish here. Well, he has, and he's going to be looking at capitalising, and he'll be hungry for a win, and we might even see the old Enzo wiggle go across the line.
You never know. It might come out again tonight, Bernie. Once again, Gavin Marsden getting a great run through the final series of corners. I reckon he'd be close to having a look here. Enzo realising the danger, moving across to the right-hand side to take the defensive line. Once again, Gavin kept him a bit tighter there, Bernie, trying to compromise Enzo's line as they come up onto the lapped Russell Clark at this stage, Bernie. Tricky part of the track to come up on a lapped car. Very hard for Russell to pull over anywhere at this stage of the track, Bernie. He'll be looking to go through the next corner and probably pull over to one side of the track to let these guys by, Bernie.
Yeah, either that or he's going to be looking for his ejection seat now. He pulls out of the way, and let's see this pack go. That's actually also allowed Luke Whitten now to range on the back. 3 laps remaining, soon 2. This battle pack's now 4.
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie. He's caught right back up here, looking to put pressure on Matthew Thomas, who's not only looking forward now, he's going to be having to check his mirrors. And what's that going to do to his game? He's been lightning fast here all week in his races here, been quietly sitting behind the front 2, waiting to see what comes of their battling. As once again Enzo takes the defensive line into turn 1. Gavin pulls over to the left, leaves him plenty of room on the approach. Enzo running a little bit wide there, not quite nailing that apex because of the narrow entry that he had to take, but once again leading us out with just the 2 laps remaining, Bernie.
Yeah, so the question is, what do they have? Looking at the downhill there, Luke came out of that corner a lot slower than the other 2 and didn't get a run, so he's going to want to improve on that. Gavin Marsden having another look, showing the nose, tucks it back in as they come across the uphill section into West Bend for the second last time. More traffic ahead of them. Will that play a part?
Potentially, Bernie. They've got Tim Hendrickson surprisingly about to be lapped as well. I imagine he'll want to play no part in the leaders' race here. But yeah, you talked about Luke's run. Again, he didn't get the best run out of that final corner, Bernie. And once again, we see Enzo taking the defensive line. It's really, really important as they go around for the final lap this time. Tim Hendrickson doing the right thing, pulling right out to the left of the opening corner there, Bernie. Is this 4 battling on through that first 2 corners, Bernie. Now, really, these guys, the only chance they've got now is to maximise their run and see if they can draft past at the finish, Bernie.
Yeah, that's the only chance they're going to have. We can see Gavin Marsden now tucking back in once more, and he'll be looking at trying to get a great run up here and uphill through West Bend, and the critical part's going to be downhill. But we've seen they haven't been able to get the pace past Enzo, and I can't see them doing it as they come to the downhill for the final time.
Yeah, absolutely possible to get the run out of the diving turn 7, as Bernie. I don't know. Gavin's been getting great runs out of there. Luke running wide there, trying to use every bit of the track and more. But Enzo's got the wiggle going early, Bernie. He thinks he's got it, and look at that. He's just got it on the line by not very much, it would appear.
Yeah, it was a wiggle, but it wasn't much of a wiggle, was it?
I think he went off almost prematurely there, Bernie, but he's managed to hang on for a great flag-to-flag victory, Bernie.
Yeah, it sort of reminded me of the people in cycling that sit up and celebrate that they've won, and I saw that the other week, and it was on some criterion, and the guy had sat up as if to say, I've won it, and they looked at him and said, you've got another lap, mate.
Oh, that's embarrassing, isn't it?
It was, yeah.
Fortunately, Enzo managed to hang on, and I'm pleased to say that there's a few guys down in the field that have hung on for great results, Bernie. Fantastic to see some of the regulars grabbing some points down the field. Yeah,
and we can see Matthew Hill here coming home in 16th position tonight. So not a bad effort there by Matthew. I think he started in 20th. So he's gained those, I'd say, through those incidents. But I think he was also involved in that first incident.
Yeah, potentially was, Bernie. I didn't pick up his paint scheme in that, but you're right. He started in 20th tonight and was up 4 positions into 16th. We scored down to 12th for the Monday Night Light Championship, so he won't score any points tonight, but certainly some valuable experience on track with some of the guys here tonight, Bernie.
Oh, for sure. And I tell you what, folks, I'm not sure if you need to catch your breath. I certainly do, because Alex, that race was just full on, and it's just kept on delivering, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Ben. It's the nature of the track here. It's, loved and loathed by many. It can produce such fantastic racing. 25 laps a course, they fly by, because normally you're not counting, you're just counting on getting through the next corner and setting up that passing opportunity, which we didn't see happen too often, of course, here tonight with Enzo driving really, really well up front. But the passing opportunity at turn 1 is what you're trying to set up each and every lap, and you have to, and you do get into a rhythm if you're going to be successful here, and you really set it up on the exit of turn 4 onto the no-name straight. You've got to then get turn 5, the uphill right, down the back section there into the West Bend, where we saw so many guys pushing it and running wide, 2 wheels on the grass there, and then ultimately into the diving turn at turn 7 to set up that passing opportunity as you cross the line into turn 1. So really strong rhythm track, laps fly by, as I say, and that's where you end up with some fantastic racing.
You certainly do, and let's go through the full results here, folks, so you can see where your favourite driver finished tonight. So Enzo Cantor, he led from start to finish tonight, and I tell you what, he was under a lot of pressure. Gavin Marsden finishing second, 0.005 of a second behind him, so that's how close it was, folks. 0.005 of a second down from the winner was Matthew Thomas, and then right behind him was Luke Whitten coming home in 4th. Ari Haro comes home in 5th, followed by Carlos Sainz in 6th position. Bart Martinovic is 7th, followed by Gustavo Condi in 8th. Hakon Grebstad, he came home in 9th tonight, with Vince Browning coming home in 10th position. In 11th was Kevin Henderson, followed by Dennis Fiedler. 13th, Benny Simonson. Matt Cox came home in 14th. 15th, Jeremiah Morton. Matthew Hill, as I said earlier, 16th position. And 1 lap down, Tim Hendrickson, Russell Clark and Benjamin Soko. And our only retirement tonight was Ben Snell.
Yeah, well, Bernie, the results tonight really do speak to the quality of the field. Plenty of race winners here this week, finishing down the order. Vince Browning in 10th position's had a hatful of wins this week. He's been really, really strong here because Håkon Grebstad, as I said, in P9, he's been racing really quickly here this week and also had a few wins. I know Dennis Fiedler down in 12th really be happy to crack a run in the top split after missing out the first week. I know he's won a race here. Of course, Benny Simonson in 13th, who, as we saw, had that unfortunate incident through the final corner. He's a previous category winner at Le Mans, and I mean by that I mean the real thing. So see guys finishing that far down the field with that sort of quality, and then to see our own top guys coming 3rd and 4th in Matthew Thomas and Luke Whitten with Enzo Kander and Gavin Marsden up top, as you said. Just big names, really quick guys all throughout the field, and once again Monday Night Lights drawing a great crowd and a lot of action.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it's almost like Matthew Thomas, Benny Simonson swapped positions this round, because last round there was Benny that qualified really well with Matthew deep in the field trying to get through, where this time Benny tried to have to do it, but he didn't really make that much of an inroad, did he? He gained a few positions, but then that big incident occurred, of course.
Yeah, you're right there, Bernie. He was driving aggressively through the field and to get himself up to the pointy end, so to speak, and then pushing hard through that turn 6, as we were talking about, West Bend, where he got wide. And I said during the call, you can put 2 wheels on the grass there, and as long as you're driving straight, maintain good pace and keep control. But if you try to turn in too early with your foot on the floor, the rear of the car will step out, and you'll see the incidents of the ilk that Benny had tonight. Surprising that he rejoined on the apex of that final corner. Perhaps could have waited until he'd hit the straight, because the apex and the flow of that corner will send cars out to the far left of the track as they track out, so he would have been safe to re-enter there. So, big pile-up resulted. Probably a decision that if he had his time over, he'd make a slightly different one. But, certainly put an end to his race in terms of competitiveness, although he did fight back to 13th, but certainly a few of the other guys wouldn't be terribly grateful for that decision either, Ben.
Yeah, no doubt. And it looks like we have our race winner in the green room. How's your Italian going? You can talk to him. You're better at Italian than I am. He just normally just laughs at me. So
he'll probably laugh at me as well, but we'll see how we go. I'll bring him up now. G'day, Enzo. Alex McKellar here, mate. Welcome back to the RRTV commentary booth, mate. Congratulations on a sensational win tonight. We were very pleased to see the wiggle back out, although at one point I thought you might have started wiggling a bit early, mate.
Oh yeah, hi guys. Yes, perhaps I started to wiggle a bit early, but I thought Gavin was far enough to do not cause problem to him. In fact, I was wiggling very, very small, because I know he was trying to keep my draft and to pass me over the finish line, but I knew he was far enough, and I hope he was far enough to not have trouble by my wiggle. I say sorry to him, and he says he answered to me, no problem, good race. But it was a very, 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 very difficult race today. I was in first position from the start, but I can say that it was not at all a vacation. It was a really hard race for me today. Really hot pressure.
Yeah, I can imagine, Enzo. Certainly from our perspective, you look like you were earning your victory tonight. Gavin, certainly, and Matthew in conjunction, really put a lot of pressure on you, forcing you to take some defensive lines into turn 1. Really good defensive lines, I should say, as well. I thought you raced really strongly and smartly tonight. And, once again here we've got the second highest strength of field of the week. we've cracked the nearly 3,700. So 218 championship points to your tally for the season, mate. But I was just saying to Bernie before, the quality of the field, there's plenty of race winners finishing down the field behind you tonight, but Enzo, so you should be very proud of your effort, mate. Congratulations on a fantastic drive.
Thank you again, Alex. And I've left to Bernie to ask. So, Bernie, ask me what you want.
Over to you, Bernie.
Yeah, I was going to say the gap on the finish line, Enzo, was 5 thousandths of a second between you and Gavin. So as you crossed the line, I actually said to Alex, yeah, he's doing a very small wiggle there because there wasn't a lot of room. But I tell you what, congratulations though for leading the race from start to finish tonight.
Thank you. Yes, well, as you know, this is a very tricky track. Many drivers hate this track. Many others loves it, but I don't love it. It's simply a track. If you are a driver, you can't race on a track thinking that you are hating it. You have to practice and to learn the best way to race on that track. And so what I did this week, fortunately, there are not many hard braking points, so I had no big trouble with my brake pedal, as you know. But yesterday I had a very great battle with Gavin in another race. I was in first position, then he passed me in T1 on the outside. I passed him again on the outside, and in the last lap I failed the last move on the outside. So today I was not sure at all to gain the victory. I was starting from the first position, and I knew that in this track, if you are fast enough exiting the last corner and defending on the inside, you can keep the first position and hold the line and keep the first position till the end. So this is what I tried to do, and it works. It worked, so I'm happy. But if I saw well in my mirrors, I think Matthew rear end a little bit, Gavin, and so he had damaged the rear wing. So I think he lost a little bit of speed on straights. And this in that moment, I started to think that it could be easier to win. But Gavin's pace didn't slow at all, so I had to be focused all the braking zones, all the corner till the end of the race, because I carried up 11.7 liters of fuel, so my car was heavier than usual, because in this track you can do it with 7.9, but you have to save fuel sometimes. I was starting from first position, so I thought to fuel more. So I had to push all the race, and I never had to lift the throttle because I had enough fuel, but my car was heavier. And in the last two corners, sometimes I lost the rear, and I did that corners in sliding, and it was very, very scary to do that corner sliding.
Yeah, well, I think it looked pretty scary on a few corners there tonight, especially up at the West Bend up there. But yeah, congratulations, Enzo. It was a fantastic drive under a lot of pressure there. Nothing separating you and Gavin. And yeah, it was a well-earned win, that's for sure. But as always, before we let you go, mate, do you want to give a shout-out to your sponsors?
Yes, I have to say thanks to Trustmaster, Tyrrell, Cube, Mivano Racing, Fabio Mantellini, my team manager, Maria Concetta for logistics and maintenance, and all my friends, my son, my girlfriend, my father, all. Because for me it's not too easy as before to drive. I have so poor time to training myself, and I'm very happy today, and I want to say hello to all my friends.
Fantastic, and hopefully we'll see you back again next Monday night, our time, if you don't have to go to work, that is. But it'll be another action-packed round, I'm sure of it.
I hope. I like so much Phillip Island, but I don't race in that track from many times, so I really don't know if I will be fast there. But this week I hope I will have enough time to practice and to start in the first 5 position in order to have some chances for the victory.
Yeah, and see if you can sort that brake pedal out too.
My brake pedal is like my sister. I always have a quarrel with her, so my brake pedal is a little brother for me.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Enzo, and have a great day. And as always, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, and see you next week.
So, folks, that was your round winner tonight, Enzo Cantor, and I like that. My brake pedal's like my sister. I quarrel with her all the time.
I'll tell you what, for those who listen carefully, Enzo made some really interesting insights about his race and his strategy there, Bernie, that I picked up on. The two that stood out for me the most, in amongst there were a handful of ones that he gave out there, were the nature of the track. We talked about it being flowing before, and Enzo sort of highlighted that in so much as he said, I don't really need to use that younger sibling, my brake pedal, too often, and he really felt that played into his court tonight. He feels like he's been off pace, as we've spoken about with him before, and last week he qualified 4th and finished 4th from memory. So that was something really interesting. Light on the brakes here, nice flowing track, and played into his hand. The other key point that I picked up on there was about his fuel, and I spoke to a few guys about this during the week. Starting mid-pack, with the amount of draft around here and nose-to-tail action, you can afford to go light on fuel. But if you're up the front and not necessarily guaranteed a draft, because it's very easy to defend the first position here if you're smart about it, you got to take full fuel. And I know Håkon Grebstad, who finished, where did he finish? 9th tonight, I think. He lost a race earlier in the week, or lost a podium at least, I should say, by spluttering over the line in that exact scenario. So interesting insight into the way the top guys think about their racing and the strategies that they use, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at the top 4, they battled really hard, but I don't think there was any overtakes, like successful overtakes, out of the top 4 there. They pretty much finished where they started and got off the line. Now, we know Matthew Thomas, you're saying he dragged the brake a bit coming off the start, which is why he didn't get a fantastic start. But he still came home 3rd, and he defended against Luke. So looking at that pace, though, it would have been pretty hard for anyone to win that once that momentum got running.
Yeah, you're right again, Bernie. Just talking to that start that Matthew made, as you said, he in the chat here, he says he's dragged his brake off the start. And you may recall he ended up battling for 3rd and 4th with Luke Whitten through that first series of corners, lost the position to Gavin, and of course lost sight of Enzo. He managed to claw back onto that front group, but a really costly little error off the line cost us all that repeat of last season in that battle between he and Enzo. But still, we didn't miss out entirely, because Gavin was certainly taking the running to Enzo all night. Bernie put on a great show.
Yeah, to underline the sort of pace we're seeing here tonight, folks, if we look at the fastest laps of the top 4, Enzo Cantor, his fastest lap, 56.487. Gavin Marsden's fastest lap, 56.416. The fastest lap of the race goes to Matthew Thomas. He did it in 56.395, and Luke Whitten's fastest lap was 1,000th of a second slower, 56.396.
Yeah, fantastic spread of times. Of course, they've got They've got the fastest laps of the race between them, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing between them at all, is it? I'm surprised that Luke maybe didn't snaffle the fastest lap, because he did manage to catch that pack in the end, probably largely through their battling more than anything else. But those are some sensational times here in these conditions tonight, Bernie, and the guys put on a great show again.
Yeah, they certainly did. And of course, Sunday night, folks, if you like your skippy action, we'll be putting on another great show at the Australasian Super Skips this Sunday night. So that's going to be exciting to look at as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Bernie. I was fortunate enough to take out my maiden victory there in the round last week. Very enjoyable league. Fantastic guys to race with. The action on track's always really, really enjoyable. At the added element of a longer race than your official, bigger fields, pit stops, side-by-side racing as always in the skippies. It's all there, folks. So if you're interested in that little series as well, check out the Australasian Super Skips on the leagues section of the iRacing website.
And of course, we'll be broadcasting that live once again on iRacing Live. So you can go over there to see the scheduling for that next Sunday night, Australian time. What time do we start normally, Alex? Have you got any idea? I think it's, 7 o'clock or something?
Yeah, so the practice session opens at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Time by about 8:40. That's 20 to 9 Australian Eastern Time. Quali starts and the race kicks off about 9, Bernie.
Yeah, so the pre-race show will kick off at 8:45 on RRTV. So hopefully you'll join us then. Apart from that, it's very quiet in RRTV this week. We don't have any V8 supercars. In fact, that season has finished, and that's due to start Friday week once more. And then it's going to be full-on action V8 supercars just about every Friday night on RRTV, because if anything, we're extending our coverage to also cover the 70-70 sprint races. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And Daniel Leet will most likely be joining me for that season.
Yeah, fantastic. So the V8's on track. Of course, they're a staple favourite of the Australia-New Zealand club, who really, form the core group of the participants there, and always good for the on-track action as well, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, if you missed... I'm plugging away here. If you missed Friday night's V8 supercar action, go and have a look at the replay. They're racing Bathurst 650, and it was a retro round, and it was an awesome race and well worth your time having a look at that. But I promise that's the end of our commercials, apart from what are you doing on Top Split this week?
Top Split. Return to a bit of streaming this week, Bernie. Of course, we'll be heading to Phillip Island, which is where you'll also see the Australasian Super Skips round this week. Lovely track in most cars, including the Skip Barbers, Bernie. So Top Split TV on Twitch will be covering a bit of that and racing on track, of course. But of course, don't forget, folks, go and check out the latest episode of the Top Split podcast at thetopsplit.com, where we speak to Johnny Gindy, the GT Academy winner. Fantastic bloke to speak to. Very interesting young man, and a lot to teach us about on track and off, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely. Check out that interview, that's for sure. But as always, Alex, it's always a pleasure having you up here, mate. And I reckon I've had a good time calling it. And what's your thoughts?
Yeah, always love calling the skippies up here with you at RRTV, Bernie. Fantastic field tonight, second strongest field of the week, plus 20 car grid. What more could you ask for, Bernie?
21 car grid.
Super Skips. Come join us for the Super Skips and you'll get more than 20. It's great.
Yeah, but until Sunday night, folks, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's coverage on RRTV, and I wish you have a very good week at work, and then tune in with us next Sunday night. But until then, on behalf of Alex McKellar, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thanks for tuning in, and hope you have a great night.